My name is Ryan Klavitz. I'm a junior. I've been on the team for 2 years, and my experience with UAVs and unmanned systems is as well 2 years. My role on the development team is I'm the captain, and my role on the flight line is flight director.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm a junior. This is my first year on the team and only year experience with UAV technology. Roles on the team include video and deliverables lead, and at the flight line competition, I will be the first flight line tech out with the aircraft.
My name is Federico. I'm the grad student. I've been at SLU for 3 years in grad school. I've been involved with the team for 2 years now, and as the grad student, I've just been helping the teams. Whenever they need help or they need some suggestions, I step in and help, but it's been mostly their work. During competition, I'll be helping at the ground station and monitoring the systems that will be taking image processing and making sure that all the components in the plane fly as they should.
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm a junior mechanical engineering student. I've been on the team for 1 year, and I've had 1 year experience with UAVs in that time. Roles in development, I was the fabrication lead, and then on the flight line, I'll be a flight technician.
I'm Kimberly. I'm a junior in school right now. I've been on the team for 2 years and the same time of experience with UAV. My roles in development was helping with the fabrication, and then my roles on the flight line is helping with ground control and monitoring the aircraft.
We have our Nikon camera attached to a gimbal, which will rotate it in mid-flight so that we can take pictures autonomously. Moving backwards here, you'll see we have this Raspberry Pi computer here with this black cable. That black cable connects to our camera, which will then be able to download all the photos we take to the Pi. We have this 8,000 amp battery. This is the main power source for the plane. If you look over here on this other side, we have another little 3-cell yellow battery. That will be powering our Pixhawk, which is our onboard autopilot. Here, you'll see that Pixhawk, which is, again, the onboard autopilot. We have our receiver right here. Down here, this little gray guy, that is a servo that's going to be for our bottle drop. And we have our GPS. Here is our 100 amp motor that's going to power the propeller. Here is the battery for the actual Pi itself. Back here, we have an airdrop battery. This battery powers the gray servo itself for the bottle drop. We have our propeller. We have all of our wiring running back here along both sides of the aircraft. Moving to our tail section, we have some rudder servos, and if you look up top here, we have our elevator servo. We have one wing on right now to show how they're attached. There is a bolt right up here that runs through the midsection of our wing in order to keep it securely attached, along with 2 carbon fiber spars, aileron servo wires, and then last but not least, our aileron servo.
Alright, so here we got an aileron test, rudder test, elevator test. We're going to arm the motor. It's armed. Test the motor. And we're going to disarm.
A CG test was performed prior to each flight to ensure that the aircraft was properly balanced along the quarter chord of the wing.
For image performance, we take pictures from a camera on our plane that is hooked up to a Raspberry Pi. This setup takes pictures at a regular interval, which is then looked at when the plane gets back to the ground station. This is still being worked on and tested for better results. The gimbal, as seen, is a 2-axis gimbal to make sure the camera is always pointed down. As you can see from these pictures, testing is still underway, trying to perfect the gimbal and nose cone for them to work perfectly together.
Alright, so here we have the plane stability mode. It's getting ready to transition to autonomous mode. And we can see it right here, switch. And we set number 3 as our first waypoint up here at the top, and it's going to try to execute that waypoint. And we can speed that up a little bit by switching to 5 times the speed. And we can see if it executes it in the messages, and there it is, waypoint number 3 with 70 meters to the next waypoint. And if we go back to our telemetry logs, and if you look at the path the plane's creating with the purple path, you can kind of see the figure 8 it created. The plane's about to hit its last waypoint right here, and then you can see it transition to return to launch. And our pilot switched to manual on this flight to test other functions of the plane.
We conducted 3 autonomous flights with the Dragonfly executed waypoints written in Mission Planner. This chart shows the number of waypoints the Dragonfly attempted and the number of waypoints the Dragonfly missed. We used a waypoint radius of 90 meters for all our flights and held the waypoints at a constant elevation of 100 meters. Collectively, in 3 flights, we executed 96.4% of our waypoints. This chart shows the time we spent in autonomous mode and in manual mode for our 3 autonomous flights. On average, for 13 minutes and 52 seconds of flight, we conducted 4 minutes and 6 seconds of autonomous flight time. The Pixhawk flight controller was used to control the Dragonfly autonomously. The Pixhawk was configured in Mission Planner. We used data from our manual flights to tune parameters pertaining to autonomous takeoff and autonomous landings.
For the air delivery testing, our delivery system was tested pre-flight off a 3-story parking garage. This was attempted 3 times and survived landing all 3 attempts. After testing off the parking garage, the delivery system was moved onto the aircraft. When incorporating this system into the aircraft, servos were connected to a separate transmitter to ensure no confusion with the flight controls. Accuracy was then tested in flight. 4 tests were done and 3 were successful. 1 attempt failed because the servos did not work properly when the switch was moved. For these tests, the average distance from the target was 122 feet.
On a flight test day, a packing checklist was gone through twice to ensure that all items needed at the airfield were present. This was done once prior to loading the truck from the lab, and a second time when all items had been placed into the truck. A typical mission always began with a flight line maintenance checklist, in which all aircraft wiring is checked, bolt connections across the aircraft are deemed to be true, and there is proper linkage between the transmitter, receiver, onboard Pixhawk, and PI. More specifically, the missions that we aim to complete at competition involve autonomous flight via Waypoint Navigation, air delivery, and object detection. All 3 of our mission tasks were successfully tested in the following manner. 3 autonomous flights were undertaken via Waypoint Navigation. 4 bottle drops were attempted via manual switch, and object detection was tested via capturing photos of dummy targets that we had placed out within the field. All 3 autonomous flight modes were attempted with only minimal waypoint inaccuracy, the worst flight missing only 6.7 of its targets. Object detection and classification will be performed via a Raspberry Pi linked to our Nikon Coolpix S3300 camera station. These photos will be clocked at being taken once every 7 seconds during flight. Lastly, the bottle drop will be performed via waypoint location of the drop dummy and using a manual switch to launch the bottle. Shown here is our mission testing chart in which we ran 6 separate mission operations in order to check how accurate our designs were. The statistics shown here depict the expected percentage of points we expect to receive from each category based on our testing.